Welcome back to the channel, guys, and in this episode I'm going to be showing you on how to flip this part of the ignition. As you can see on mine, it's actually upside down. Not sure if you guys could see that. Hopefully it's not getting blurry. So you can see on mine it's pretty much upside down. It doesn't really bother me, but I would prefer it to be right side up on the way it should be. So let's get to it, and first things first, we do need to remove the headlight, which is right here obviously, and it's going to be with a 10mm socket, one bolt here, one bolt down there, and same thing on the other side, on the top and the bottom. So let's go ahead and remove those bolts, and that will give us access to the ignition. Alright, now that we have the headlight out of the way, you could see that in order to remove the ignition, there are two screws. Let me see if I find my finger here. So there is a screw right there. It's going with a Phillips screwdriver. So one right there on that side, and then the other one is right here on this side. So I'm going to go ahead and remove those two screws, and hopefully we could just kind of bring down the ignition so we could actually turn that cover. Okay, got those two screws down. So now we're able to drop down the ignition. It's going to be a little tight here, guys, because of all the cables. Just do the best you can. Make sure you're careful on not, pulling on some other cables. So I'm just trying to maneuver it so we're kind of come out. All right, well, here it is. Here is the ignition. So now we're going to see if we could actually turn the cap. As of right now, I don't actually think we can. All right, so let me do a little bit of investigation to see if I could even somehow turn it, or somehow turn it a different way, so that way the ignition says it this way, the right way on the bike. And then I'll show you how I did it. Alrighty, guys, now this is where I'm at with the ignition. So I decided to pop this piece out, as it looks like it doesn't really turn. I tried to use a grip thing and to see if I could spin this or twist it, and it doesn't want to budge. So there's a tab here and a tab there. Move those out of the way, and this pretty much plastic piece comes out, and this is what the ignition looks like. A very simple ignition. Anyhow, so looking on this plastic piece, it's all one piece. So now you have one of two choices. Either just put everything back together and kind of live with it, that your ignition is going to be upside down forever. Or you could be like me and be OCD about it and have it bother you a little bit every time you look at it. And that's what I'm going to do, is I'm actually going to try to fix this. One is to get a Dremel tool and just kind of cut alongside the edge right over here, all the way around, sand it till it's nice and smooth on all edges or whatever, and then re-glue it to the right position. Another method I'm thinking of I might try to do is get a very sharp blade to minimize the amount of melted plastic from the Dremel tool, and just use a hot blade and kind of just cut this whole piece off. And then, cut the edges, to make sure everything's smooth, and put some glue and then re-glue it in the right position. So I will try those methods, not the Dremel way. I'm going to try the hot, or either the hot blade or just a very sharp blade, and see if I could get it in there and, cut along this, the ridge right there. And then once I do, and if I'm successful, I will show you. If I'm not successful, I will still show you, and I'll show you how I'll be putting this all back together, all said and done. But yeah, let me get to it, and I'll show you my results. Alright, so here is the results. I was able to cut it as best as I could, and this is the blade I use. It's just pretty much a standard blade that you could kind of cut the tips off as it gets dull. So the part I'm talking about, I'm going to pretty much have to sand this whole part. I'll put it on the sander to kind of get a little bit more flat. And then same thing with this one, obviously, is the part that just kind of broke off. And I'm going to sand this one so it can be kind of flat as well. Once both parts are flat, I'm going to go ahead and reinstall this piece. But let me go ahead and sand these pieces down just a little bit, not too much, because I don't want it to be way off. And then we'll take it from there. Okay, already sanded. As you could see, it looks really good, nice and flat. I didn't go too crazy. I didn't want to wear out the whole entire thing. And then same thing on the top part. I already sanded it out, so it's nice and smooth. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and put everything back together. So you're just going to grab your cylinder head right here. Hopefully my headlight doesn't fall. So here's the thing. Now this, the top part cover here goes with this part over here, so it kind of just covers everything. I'm gonna go ahead and undust it real quick. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and snap everything back in place. All right, I have to finagle it a little bit, just making sure everything's good. All right, there you go. So everything's already snapped in place, as you can see. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and put the bracket back on, which is the 2 screws that I removed here. Sorry guys, I didn't show you that, but those pretty much 2 screws here that had to be removed in order to get to this cover, to be able to remove it better without, you know, kind of forcing it or whatnot. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and put those 2 screws back and that whole bracket, and then we're gonna install it right back into the spot, which was that 2 screws that were located, one over here on this side and one over there on that side. Okay, now before I actually put the key cylinder back into its spot, now this is the bracket I was telling you about. Nothing too biggy. It was just two screws and you remove the bracket. But anyhow, this piece, well, I'm gonna have to probably do a 2 parts glue, meaning well, let me just show you pretty much, because when I put this part on there, you're gonna see that there's a little bit of a gap. So let me move the camera a little bit and zoom in a little bit more. Now you can see that even though I put the 2 pieces together, you can see there's a little bit of a gap, and that's pretty much typical when cutting something apart. Again, I didn't use my Dremel, but I did use the hot blade method and was able to cut it, but still material is being removed. So in order to really make sure that this is a good seal or whatnot, or make sure that it's really good on when I put it back together, is that I'm gonna put either hot glue on the outer perimeter, or I may just use regular glue. I think the regular glue should be enough to kind of seal it back up. I'll probably just use regular glue. So just regular glue on the outer perimeter, and then some regular glue on this silver edge. But I'm not gonna glue it from here. I'm gonna glue it probably on this particular piece here. So on this one, it'll be the glue on the outer perimeter here, and then glue on the inner diameter here. So 2 spots for gluing, and then we'll put this back on the face and then position it in the correct way. All right, so next we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and get those 2 bolts, one here and one here, and we're gonna put this back into the bike. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and you guys do as well if you actually went as far as I did with this video. Okay, now that I already put the ignition back in, now let's go ahead and put our headlight back in with the 2 longer bolts on the bottom, the 2 shorter bolts on the top. Alrighty, the ignition is in, and that's how it looks like. Pretty much bare bones. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get my glue, which is going to be Gorilla Glue. So sorry for moving the camera around. I'm gonna put in the Gorilla Glue, and we're gonna be putting it on the inner edge and the outer edge, and then we are going to put this finally in the right position like this. Now here's the Gorilla Glue I'll be using. Sorry for the mess in the background, guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and get to it and start putting the glue, like I said, on the outer edge and on the inner edge, and then I'm gonna carefully place it by the ignition the right direction. Alrighty guys, as you can see, I already got the glue on there. I know my camera's weird about focusing, but main to be focused right there. Now this is pretty much kind of most nerve-wracking, as I don't want to, you know, Gorilla Glue my fingers over here. Alright, so I'm going to carefully put this over there, as I'm not sure how I'm going to carefully put this over there. You know what, I'm going to grab some needle nose pliers and really grab a hold of this thing and kind of place it a little bit without knowing or worrying about dropping it down in there. Alright, as you can see, I got the pliers holding the cover. Now to carefully place it in position so that everything is finally reading the right way. Alright, I'd say pretty much right about there. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of drop it in place. There we go. And just kind of center it in position. I believe right there should be really good. Alright, it's looking really good so far. Move it just a little bit. I think right there looks about right. All right, so let me go ahead and get the camera. Let's go mobile real quick so you guys could see it. All right, there we go. It's looking really good. Finally, the ignition word is in the right position and not upside down. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and let that dry for at least a couple hours. If not, I'll just leave it pretty much overnight, really, as I'm not gonna be riding anytime soon. All right, just gonna go ahead and put my key in and make sure that everything still works. That you're able to still push the button in and it's not, you know, being glued on anywhere. Go ahead and turn the key. So like the key, there we go. You can see everything turns on like normal. All right, I'll go ahead and turn it off. Okay, so like I said, I'm just gonna let that sit overnight, and yeah. So mission complete and successful. Well guys, that pretty much concludes on how to fix that upside down ignition. If you guys found the video helpful, please smash that like button. There we go, smash that like button. If you found it not helpful, smash the dislike button. Let me know down in the comments below of what you found not helpful about this video. If you have any other questions, leave those in the comments down below. And also while you're down there, please subscribe, hit the notification bell. That way you guys are up to date with my latest uploads. Alright guys, take care and I'll catch you guys on the next video.